All right, it says I am live. Yes, sir, Trigger Bar. I did make it home. We'll get into that here in a minute. And I know more people will be jumping on here in just a second. So, I do want to let Ranger 10 know that we're all thinking about him and his family. Lost his mother. So, if you would like to definitely say a prayer for him, please do. I already did because, it is rough losing a parent. I have lost my biological mother, so I get it. So it's not anything anybody wants to go through. So yeah, we've got Ranger Trigger Bar. We got Scott 79 on here. So and Chris from the 740. Hello, Chris. How are you, man? Hope you're doing well. Long time no talk to. So, but yeah, we're gonna get into. I traveled a bunch of miles, so we'll get into that in just a second. Hello, Floridian. And I kind of thought, oh well, I'll do a vlog. Dude, I had the hammer down, and I was driving. I just stopped to, you know, do the business and maybe grab a water and jump back in the truck. So I drove. It was about, I think it was like right at about 1,200 miles. So I did 1,200 miles. I drove 10 and a half yesterday, and then drove the rest today. So it was a lot of driving. I did pick up the new truck. We'll get into that too if y'all want to talk about that. Um, and the route that I took, I'll tell you where I was, just in case I was in somebody's backyard. But honestly, I wouldn't even had time to talk and say hi. I would have loved to, but this was a quick trip. Also, TSA, we'll get into that. Hello, Rabbi. How are you, sir? Rich B, hope you're doing well. Dirt Track, hello, sir. But yeah, I mean, we'll just go ahead and talk about it. I flew out Monday morning, DFW, American, and had a little fumble with TSA on my key rings for my truck. I carry, and y'all have probably seen them. They're like the little Leatherman Micro. I think I have like a Gerber. I mean, I have two or three. I think I have three of these little Leatherman. I think they're called Leatherman Micros, and you open them up, and it's got little scissors and tweezers and fingernail file and stuff like that. And I just keep them on my key ring, and I use them quite a bit. Just like cut a string off your shirt, or I've used them periodically. And on the Gerber, I have the little mini pliers. I've used those before. Um, and of course, I carry a pocket knife, but I left the pocket knife at home. But I threw the keys in the backpack because I was going to pick up the truck. And anyway, I forgot it was on there. So went through TSA and all that. Didn't have it in my pocket. Had it in my backpack. And they were like, "Oh, we need to check this one." So anyway, this guy came over and was acting like a total dick. And he was going through everything, and he pulls it out and he goes, "You can't have this." Opens it up. "You can't have this. There's a knife on this." The freaking knife is, but whatever. So I was like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" So he's like, "Oh, you can ship it back or you can donate it." And I said, "Donate it to who?" And he goes, "Oh, we put it in a bucket." And I said, "Oh, so y'all can pick through it later." Well, this other guy came over and was being an asshole along with him. And I was like, "Dude, whatever." And I said, "Okay, so if I give it to one of y'all, is that cool?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah." I could tell he really wanted it. And the other guy was like, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "Oh, okay, so I can give it to one of y'all. I can give it to a TSA agent." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, you can." And I said, "So y'all can have it and we can't." And he's like, "Well, we have to put it in the back and then we can take it, home when we leave and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Yeah, like you do with all the other knives." But anyway, so I said, "Okay, so I can give it to someone." Well, as I was walking in, there was a really nice guy there. And, he was like pre checking you and kind of, as you go through the line and telling you to get your stuff out. And he wasn't one of the yellers. And anyway, I saw him walking back behind the line. I guess he was going back there, and I said, "Sir," like that. And he came walking over. I took off the key ring, and I said, "Here, I'd like you to have this." Those little things are like $60. And I said, "I would like you to have this." And he goes, "Why?" I said, "Because you were nice." And I just turned around and walked off. I said, "Are we done?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, I'm out of here." So that was my little thing. Granted, I should have taken it off the key ring. I know all that, but they're treating me like some freaking idiot. So, but anyway, so that was the little fun thing that I had dealt with. So who I don't know the guy's name, but whoever it is, he got pretty much a brand new Leatherman Micro. Yeah, press that like button. I appreciate it, guys. Oh yeah, it was fun. And then we had a computer outage on the airplane. I have two computers. It was the non-flyable version, so that was like a 40-minute delay. But anyway, so they got us up in the air when I got there. Yes, I have. I was going to talk about that tonight too, Brian. Yep, the guy running on the thing. Hello, Pistol Pete. How are you? Yep, 6.4 with a Hemi Performance Exile, or it's surprisingly loud. Yeah, I've got the custom on my wife's H pipe that I did on my wife's. It's really fast, or it sounds really good. Damn, on a bike. Holy crap, Pistol Pete. Yeah, supposedly you can't have toenail clippers too, so that was crazy. Spyderco knife on me. Yeah, I did have a Benchmade on me one time, and I had plenty of time, which I had plenty of time this time. But he's like, "Oh, you can go over. There's a postal thing there," and so I shipped it to myself, and it was like $38 or something. But the knife was super expensive. It's like $38, and I did my business trip, got back, and then I received it 2 days later from DFW. You know, to my home. 2 days after I got back. I think I was gone like 5 days. So I don't know what the hell why it took so long. Let's see here. Hello, Lynn Holt. How are you, sir? So anyway, that was the fun little thing there. And then I know that, and I saw this, but I know that Trigger Bar was talking about it on his chat as well. But the guys doing the sword fighting or machetes in Scotland, did y'all see that? There was like 4 guys with like these. They look like machetes to me. I guess they were calling them swords, but they were these freaking big old ass knives, and they were sitting there swinging them at each other. And I was like, that's the reason you need a gun for shit like that. But I don't know if any of them hurt each other. I don't know how it ended. It just ended. But I was like, holy crap, that's crazy, man. But anyway, cheers, everybody. This is Yellowstone. Yellowstone whiskey. I still had some of it, so that was good. But let's see here. So yeah, that was crazy. Anybody? I've had a bunch of people ask me, what do I think about Springfield doing the ported Prodigy? I had a bunch of people go, oh my God, Springfield ported the Prodigy. I'm like, well, I figured they would because they did the Hellcat. I think the Echelon will probably be next. I guess this is the year of porting. So, but yeah, would I buy it and all that other stuff? And I'm like, I don't need it. But if you don't want extra length, it's a good option. I don't know how. I haven't seen anybody shoot one yet, so I don't know, like compared to a regular Prodigy, kind of what the difference is. I have no idea. I think it would help. How drastic, I don't know, because again, I haven't tried it. I haven't shot it, so. But you know, and I did see also they're making the Prodigy and FDE now. If anybody's interested in that, hopefully they've cleaned up all the stuff from their growing pains. As far as the disconnector being kind of hangy. Um, I haven't played with a current Prodigy, so I don't know. Yeah, Scott, I think they are. That's the first thing I said. I said, I bet they're going after Bull or trying to get a piece of that pie. Yeah, Chinese broadswords. Yeah, wow. Porting seems, yeah. I mean, porting has been a thing way back when, but I think it's had a resurgence because I mean, you can have a comp, but it does add length. So this way you don't have to modify a holster or anything like that. And I do like comp guns. Don't get me wrong, I like them. So I just prefer, if I can get to have the extra velocity and then a comp at the end, if I can get that. But of course, it does increase the length of the slide. A lot of people don't like that, and I get it. I understand. So at least it's another option for somebody to have. Let's see here. Because the recoil from the 9 is so hard, maybe comp these tiny 380s. Yeah, I mean they're gonna do whatever they can do to make a buck. And if you think about it, they've already got an older gun that's been out for a while, and if somebody hasn't ported it or comped it or whatever by now, maybe this might be the reason somebody buys one. So you're not really going through another part number. You're just cutting holes in the slides. Let's see. It's almost like everyone got together at SHOT Show and said 2024 is the year of the ports. Yeah, I would agree with that. Scott says, I just picked up a Prodigy 4.25 model, and it definitely is better than when they first came out, but it still hangs up on the disconnector, but it's been reliable for 200 without any problems. Yeah, and I mean, with shooting it, you're going to work that disconnector, so as long as it's not a big hang up and like you rack it back and then it just hangs, and you have to slam it forward, it'll work itself. Or you could take it and polish it, do things like that too. Also, if you chose to. But yeah, I think I did 1,200 miles in like kind of a day and a quarter or a half or whatever you want to say. Um, or for most of the day, I took off early yesterday morning, shut it down about 6 o'clock, got a hotel in Arkansas, and then started early this morning and ran it the rest of the way through. Where I went to Indiana, like the very top part of Indiana, and then went from Indiana all the way down, like through Illinois, all the way down to kind of close to Little Rock where it cuts over to Texarkana, and then came all the way back down through. So that's the route that I took. The truck is a GMC AT4. I think I told people about that. It's actually a very nice truck. It's fully loaded, sunroof, Bose system, every bell and whistle, every camera. It's got the segmented tailgate, power tailgate. You push it, the tailgate comes down, and then it divides in half for a step. The center of the tailgate drops down. Y'all have probably seen them on the Sierras. Um, it's got the camera is really weird on the rear view mirror. You can have the old school rear view mirror, or you flip it, and then it lights up your rear camera, and it turns your rear camera into your rear view mirror. So that's actually pretty cool and different. Uh, it's got a camera on the front, so when you're parking, it's crazy. I mean, it gives you like 360 degrees around. It's insane. Um, I've got some of our stuff on it already. I'll be putting more on it, but it's really nice. The interior, it's kind of like a darker, I think it's called like a steel gray. I think that's what it's called. Kind of a little bit of silver flake, but it's a darker gray. The interior is kind of a gray, and I think it's kind of like an orange tan. But when I sent buddies pictures, they were like, "Dude, that's orange," and it does look very orange. But if you see it in person, it kind of looks like an orange tan. So it's got orange kind of inserts in the seat along with the gray. So it is a two-tone interior. The dash has orange or that tan stitching all over it and stitching all over the seats. Super nice truck. Really, really nice truck. It is the 5.3. I was kind of wishing it was the 6.3 high output, but it is a 5.3. But I think we can do a little bit to it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it rides really good. It's got the factory 2-inch Rancho suspension on it with the tow hooks and everything from the factory. Really, really nice truck. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let me catch back up. Um, is a comp tough to keep clean? Do not have a gun with one yet. No. Um, your 22 comps will get pretty dirty because of the lead and kind of fouling buildup, but I'd still shoot them. I don't really worry about them. Rabbi. Um, yeah, I get asked about that quite a bit, Len Holt. Said a discussion on aluminum frames. More modern pistols are going that way. Alloy better or steel inserts? Aluminum, they're doing alloy frames because of weight. I get it. I've got a few alloy frame guns. Um, I don't really, to say I prefer one over the other. I do like the Staccato P. I preferred the aluminum version because the steel Staccato, which helps with recoil for a lot of people, but I'm not recoil sensitive, so I would rather have the lighter weight to carry, especially in a bigger gun. Because I do carry my Staccato P. A lot of people don't because they think they're way too big, and they probably are very big for a lot of people. But I prefer the aluminum ones there, and then I have some smaller guns that are aluminum or alloy. I don't mind them, but it's just really whatever your preference is. But a lot of people or a lot of companies are going to it to cut weight because they think if it's lighter, people will carry it. Um, oh yeah, I sent Rabbi pictures of it. Yeah, it is. It's a nice looking truck. Big J, did you drive past Peru, Indiana? Man, I don't know, to be honest with you. I was flying, and a lot of the times I didn't even know where the hell I was. I mean, I was just following the map. I didn't know like each city or excuse me, each county or, you know, city, so to say. I just knew the state a lot of the times. And hell, even I was talking to Harry one time, he goes, "What state are you in?" And I was like, shit, I don't even know. I mean, just because I was just so zoned on driving. Once I get behind the wheel and I'm not stopping, I'm just, phew, I'm just going. Let's see here. Yeah, this one has the auto folding mirrors. I have them on my Dodge too. They are nice. You can just push the button and fold them in. When you go to the car washes or whatever. It is nice to have those. Not a must, but it is nice. Yep, yep. That's what I was talking about. Yep. It's not going to be good. Not going to be good. Big money. Matter of fact, I already know some dealers now. They are not Toyota dealers. They're Chevy, Ford, and Dodge dealers. They will not take a Toyota Tundra on a trade-in. They will not take one because they've had a lot of people coming in and say, "Hey, I want to trade in my, Toyota Tundra for a Chevy, GMC, Ram, Ford, whatever," and they're like, "We can't take that in on trade because they don't want to be stuck with it." Yeah, my daughter's broken off a power mirror on her Lexus before, and but I replaced it for her. I bought it and replaced it, but they're not cheap. Oh, staccato. Yeah, I have, alloy staccatos. Never had a alloy Les Baer or Ed Brown. I had alloy CZs. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. Feed ramps. Yeah, I haven't seen an alloy feed ramp. I've only seen stainless steel. So, all right, Rabbi, have a good dinner, man. Uh, I went to a few of them. I'll tell you that one later because it's actually a very small town, and there's yeah, I'll tell you later. Pistol Pete, what's my favorite big dot or my favorite pistol dot? Probably for a budget dot. If you want to go budget, right now the Sealy's are pretty hard to beat. Sealy's making some pretty good stuff. Um, Now, as far as just good, reliable, works every time dot, I've had really good luck with Holosuns personally. Um, I've never had one take a shit. and you talk about like Delta Point Pro, Trijicon, those kind. I've had one Trijicon fail. They replaced it. I've had two Delta Point Pros fail. They fixed one, replaced one. I got rid of them. I only have one Delta Point Pro now. And I think they're kind of old school with the button being up in the middle where you got to put your finger in and then move your finger so you can see if you went up or down. That's just stupid to me. I think they need to revamp that dot. I think they should have done it way, way before. And hopefully coming soon they will. I don't know. Hello, Clyde. How are you, buddy? Rich B starting his third week of knee replacement rehab. Good deal, man. Life is good. So I guess it's all going well. But I would probably say Holosun right now for just common dots. I just haven't had any problems with them. So knock on wood, I've got and I'm not being sarcastic, I think I have like 13 or 14 of them. And I have some of the old 507s where the batteries are on the bottom and they still kick. I mean, they're still going fine. I have yet to replace one of them. And I've done multiple batteries in them and still had no problem. So that's good. That's good. And I think the Holosuns are pretty bomb proof, and the price is right on them. I know a lot of people kind of don't like them, but I do like the Aimpoint P2. I haven't had any problems with mine personally, and I've had it for a long time now. It's been working great, but some people have had like front glass crack. They've had some issues with them fogging. I haven't, and I have gotten mine in the water. I did the dunk test on it and all that. And so far, it's been great. Anything can happen. I mean, I understand that, but it's how they take care of it. And Trijicon was good about taking care of it. Delta Point Pro, they were good about taking care of it. But again, I haven't used Holosun's customer service, so I don't know. Or I take that back. I did have a problem. It wasn't a problem with the optic or the magnifier, but I did have a Holosun magnifier where one of the bolts, they put Rockset on it. And I tried to take the bolt out and I put it in there and I loaded the screw, not just twisted it, I actually loaded it up and then tried to break it loose and it sheared. And so I contacted them and they said, does it have blue on it or does it have like a white, color? And I said, it's white. And they said, damn it. That's when our guy, they were cool about it, but they said that's when one of our guys put Rockset instead of Loctite. And you can break Rockset loose by soaking it in water. And if I would have known that, I didn't see the color until I broke it, until I snapped the stud off. But if I could have seen that it was white, I would have soaked it before. And also I didn't use a heat gun because the other one I took off was perfect. It was fine. But, and it didn't have, I couldn't tell any white or blue on it. So, but the other one, they really put a bunch of crap on it. Yeah, and I have a few 507Ks, and I haven't had any problems with those either. Let's see here. Lena saying, I just finished evaluating the SCS carry. I sent it back. The dot is bright and can't be toned down. Nice that there is no battery to replace. Yeah, and I know that Trigger Bar checked that one out too, and that one's just kind of a little, I don't know, it just kind of makes me leery. I'm not saying that it's a bad dot. It just makes me leery in the long run because you can't replace it. So, there you go. Oh, and I was digging through some boxes the other day, and I found, I didn't even know I had one of these, honestly. I remember I had it from way, way, way back, but I couldn't believe I still had this. And I guess this is one of those little, this is one of my favorite lights. Y'all know this. It's the, I don't know what the hell this number is, the S1 Baton or whatever, I guess from Olight. And it actually still lights up. And I was like, oh, but it seems kind of dim. So I need to put a battery in it. Well, guess what? It's got that freaking charger thing. I don't know where the hell the charger is. I have no idea. The proprietary charger, you can't just plug like a USB or any of that kind of shit in it. So I don't know where the hell the charger is, but whatever. I probably have it in another box somewhere. I trashed a bunch of that shit when I broke them, and I gave a bunch of them away. I think I had two or three that still worked, and I gave them away. I didn't even know I had this thing. Yeah, Olight smuggled it in. Yeah, like I said, I don't even know how I'm going to charge it or even mess with it. I guess it'll eventually go dead and turn into a paperweight. But yeah, so that was and on that trip, I was averaging. Now, granted, this is 4-wheel drive, 2-inch factory lift. Um, I was averaging 18.6 miles to the gallon. So, on that kind of trip, and it was windy. I drove through some rain. Um, I had some of it was traffic where it was like backed up and literally stopped. An 18-wheeler crashed um, on one, and then another one, those, like the big junk things, like you'll put at a job site and you throw all the junk in it, and then you load those on a flatbed and tow them. One of those came off of a trailer and was laying over partly in the ditch and partly in a lane. So they had to get a wrecker out there, a long wrecker, to get it out of there. It wasn't the super long dump things. It was, kind of like a smaller version. So I was stuck in traffic on that in Arkansas. Um, and that was even sitting in traffic. So 18.6. So, and it does stand up pretty damn tall. It's taller than my 4-wheel drive Ram. So, but yeah, I haven't driven a GMC in forever. So it was good to kind of get into one. And I mean, I've driven one. Don't get that twisted, but I haven't like done long road trips or owned one in a very, very, very long time. Well, take that back. I've never owned a GMC. I've only had Chevys. Um, but it does ride really nice. Of course, it's got the heated, air conditioned seats, all that stuff. But my Ram has that too. But it's a nice truck. I enjoyed it. Clyde, to be very honest with you, when I went there, because I thought I was going to have to go through Chicago, uh, I did not have one on me at the time, and just got back today. Um, so I did. I'm just being honest with y'all. I don't fib to y'all. So I didn't carry Monday, Tuesday, or part of today. So the Chicago does not think too kindly on Texas carry. Because I did, a buddy of mine flew into the airport there in Chicago. I didn't fly into Chicago, but he flew into Chicago, and that wasn't acceptable for him. So, hello Norwood, how are you? AC seats are in Texas are necessary. Yeah, they are. Super nice to have, especially if you auto start your truck and let it cool down. Because when I auto start the truck, if it's over a certain temperature in my Ram and probably in this one, it kicks them on automatically. So it's definitely nice to have it. I call it ball cooler. That's what I've always called them. I definitely get a little ball chiller. Let's see here if I'm forgetting anything. Oh, I did see the Taurus 22 Compact, the new one that is optic ready. I saw those for like $209 on a website. Um, I mean, that's a hell of a deal, and that's a great pistol. I mean, I love my Taurus 22 competition, and that's got the complete open top like the 22 competition. So that's a hell of a price if you want a nice 22. And they do take those mags and the Taurus 16 round mags, and you can get the tandem cross, +5 extensions. And there's another company that makes them. I think it's Taylor Freelance. I think they make extensions too. So that's a hell of a price on a 22. Matter of fact, I'm excited. I want to start shooting more 22. I am going to do this week. Or weekend. I'm going to do some AR testing. So I'll be shooting some of that because I've got to test some products. I want to shoot 22 as well. I really miss 22. It's just fun, you know. And I mean, if somebody wanted to use it for self defense, if it's the right ammo, I mean, you can send a lot of firepower down range if you had to pretty quickly. Wouldn't be my optimal choice, but you could. I kind of want to shoot my 5.7 also. I've been kind of missing that. That's a fun one to shoot, that Palmetto State Rock. I really actually like that gun a lot. It's a lot of fun. But let's see here. Scott says my uncle only buys Lincolns and it has to have the AC seats. Yeah, those Lincolns are nice. Hello, Disastrous Effect. How are you, sir? Said he just got home. It's awesome, man. Yeah, I just got home. I think I got home like 3 o'clock, 2:45, something like that. And man, I was ready to get out of that truck. I mean, not that it's uncomfortable. It's just, you know, I was talking to buddies on the phone while I was driving back and listening to music and all that stuff. Had the radio cranked. Listen to some Godsmack, some AC/DC. Listen to some country because I do like country. What else do I listen to? Stain. I really like Stain, but I was definitely jamming. What? You can't own a crossbow? Oh my god! What in the hell is going on, man? That's crazy. No, it was on. I was at a restaurant, and I guess it was that opening ceremony or whatever. And I saw that, and I'm like, "Are you got to be kidding me?" And I was like, "Hey, look at the turn that shit off." So they looked at it and they turned it off. They're like, "Oh my god, that's horrible." Can't believe they're even showing that kind of shit. Yeah, Shinedown. Yeah, I like Shinedown. When the professionals weren't allowed. Yeah. Yep. A couple of NBA stars were showing their ass sitting down. They should not be able to play for their country when they do stupid shit like that. That is horrible. But yes, I was going to talk about it. I had it written down here too. But yeah, if y'all hadn't seen the new video where you can see the guy running across the roof, wow. I'm like, really? Y'all don't see that? Uh, that's, I don't know. You know, there's something kind of fishy about that whole deal. I'm sure y'all kind of have your ideas. I have my ideas. We probably don't want to talk about it here, but it's awful fishy about the attempt. Uh, there's a lot of stuff that does not add up. So, I'm like, is this the JFK thing all over again? Yes, it's Yellowstone whiskey, I believe, or that's what it is, I think. Yeah, I had to have Monday when I was there in Indiana. I did. I was with my boss all day, and he took me to a really good, like a hamburger joint. It's actually kind of a bar. Went there, had a really good hamburger, and then we went to a bar that evening. Had some really good old fashions, um, and then had a really really good steak. It's kind of a sports bar, but it actually has like gourmet food. I was actually very impressed. It was really good because I was looking at it and I'm like, this is like a sports bar. Um, but it was really good. Ping pong, and that gives me a headache when that thing's flying back and forth. Um, Now they did have on that I don't even know what it's called, where the guys run with the ball and it's like soccer, but I mean handball, I guess, where they throw it in the net and stuff. That was kind of interesting. Let's see here. Oh wow, ball. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. That was horrible. I'll be glad when that shit's over with for you. Yeah, I agree. Or the C team, man. For the ones that lady that couldn't put her gun back in the holster. That was, and I know that she was probably all jacked up on adrenaline, probably never even been through that shit before in real life. But you never know. I'm not hating on anyone. I'm just like, wow, you can tell that wasn't the A team. And like I said before, when you've got somebody who's 6'3" or 6'4", your meat curtain guys need to be 6'3" or 6'4". And I don't think they're going to have a woman in that position that's that tall to be surrounding him, because the one lady, I mean, left his head completely exposed. So if there would have been multiple, bad people, I don't want to say the word, I could have still ended pretty badly. Thank God it didn't. But yeah, she got her sunglasses on and got her little jacket pulled down really quickly. That was a shit show. But as far as what I have coming up, I'm going to be testing the new Bear Creek sledgehammers. I talked about them, and I will be doing a giveaway also, but I'm going to be testing these. These are their new ones for suppressed. It's supposed to divert the gas so it doesn't come back in your face. So I'm interested in testing those, and I will be giving one away. I'll probably do it on one of my chats, but I want to test it first and make sure that there's no issues with it or anything like that. I don't want to give away a product I don't believe in. I hope y'all know that about me. So I'll be giving away one of those if it passes the test that I want to put it through. So I'll be running those in some rifles, different rifles. I'm going to be running it in a AR-15, a 300 Blackout, and my setup for my 308 for the POF. It does take AR-15 charging handles, so I'll probably put one in it just to test it with a 308 gas. So that way we can kind of have 3 different calibers that it's been tested in, or these have been tested on. See what I think about it, because I know what I'm using now, it does bleed some gas back in my face. So if it doesn't with these, that's definitely a win. So we'll be testing that. I've got something coming in for a suppressor. A company reached out to me. They watched one of my videos of a review that I did where I was comparing some covers. And they reached out. They liked that video. And so they reached out. And it's a very well-known company. But they reached out and they're like, hey, we like what you did on this video, so we would like you to test one of ours. So they sent it, or I went in and custom built it and all that other stuff. And I should have that Saturday. I don't know, I don't know if I'll be able to test it that soon, but I do want to test it and see what I think about it. So we'll be testing that thing out. They gave me a discount code, and he goes, we're just going to give you one. And I said, I don't even know if I like your product. So I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to say the discount code before I test it. And they were like, that's cool, but you'll have one if you want one to share. I don't make any money on it, but, to share with the subscribers if they want to use it. But if I like the product, we'll put the code out there if y'all want it. Again, I am over on X now. I've got 2 channels. I've got the Big Johnson GG, and then I've got the Big J's Pit Stop. So this weekend also, I do plan to season the drum smoker. So I'm going to be seasoning that up. I'll probably shoot a video just to show it. I've had a lot of people ask me how I season my pits. So I probably will shoot a little video, nothing major. It's not difficult to do it. It's not difficult how I do it. So if you want to watch it, cool. And then also I've been asked, after you clean a grill or clean a smoker, like completely clean it out, do you re-season it afterwards? And yes, I do. So after I clean it all out, degrease it, all that other stuff, then I do the same scenario to re-season it. So I'll show that as well. Let's see here. Floridian is saying, sounds like you didn't have time to film any food joints for the Pit Stop channel. I didn't, man. That's what I was saying earlier. I got that truck and I was flying. It was a total of it was like 16 hours and 45 minutes. I mean, just for the drive. So I was just like, when I stopped, it was like, literally to take a piss and get some drink or whatever. I was pretty much on the road the whole time. One night or Tuesday night, I was so freaking tired. I didn't even go eat anywhere. I just crashed because I was so damn worn out. So I didn't. I had plans to, but man, if I would have had one more day, I probably could have, but I just didn't have that extra day. It's crazy, man. It was a lot of driving. So I kind of wanted. I wanted to. I really did. Um, I did stop at one rest stop in Illinois that was actually pretty cool. They had a memorial. I did take a picture of it. They had a memorial for the fallen soldiers, so I thought that was really cool. I took a picture of it. Um, but it was mostly farmland area and stuff that I was driving through in Illinois. I diverted going through downtown Chicago, so I didn't have to mess with that. I did go through part of the hood. Man, it was sketchy. Um, but I didn't go through, I guess, the dominant area where they are having a lot of it. And this was during the middle of the day, so I'm sure shit still happens that during the day when I was through there. But I definitely had my head on a swivel, and I didn't pull up too close to cars to where they could block you in from the back and the front. I kept good distance so I could shoot out to the left or the right if I had to, or move a car out of the way if I had to. But yeah, it was a very fast trip. I flew in Monday, visited with my boss, spent some time with him, and then literally because they were an hour behind or an hour ahead of us, so the next morning I woke up like at 4:30. I couldn't go to sleep or 4 o'clock, so I just took a shower and grabbed everything and pretty much hit the road. Like I think I was on the road at like 5:30 or something. Um, just so I can start making some tracks back. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, I did have a something happen. It was kind of crazy, man. It literally sounded like a 12 gauge shotgun. I was driving, and I was pinned in between all these 18 wheelers. In the right lane, uh, there was an 18 wheeler over here with a big trailer on it, and he kicked up a chunk of concrete. This thing was like this big, and it was like when it came at me, it was literally like in slow motion. It was so weird. Y'all have probably seen that, like because I had that tunnel vision going, but that thing was like slow motion coming right for literally me behind the windshield, and I was like, so I kind of shot to the left. It hit the windshield and then shot out to the left into the median. It didn't blow up, so it was a serious piece of concrete. And I noticed the 18 wheeler, kind of swerved over to the other 18 wheeler, which was in front of me. And so I shot over because I'm like, what the hell are both these 18 wheelers moving over for? And he was trying to avoid that piece of concrete. I guess he saw it when he was driving, but his rear trailer tire kicked it up and it hit the windshield. And when it hit the windshield, it literally sounded like a 12 gauge going off. It was like boom. And I was for sure it was going to shatter the window. It didn't. It left a little, I'm talking the tiniest nick. So, but this windshield is more domed than flat. So I'm sure that helped save me in the windshield. But I was just waiting for that thing to just be freaking shattered out because it was pretty intense. So that definitely made your butthole pucker up when I saw that. Let's see here. But the old fashions were good. They were Buffalo. They had Buffalo Trace there, so I did have the Buffalo Trace old fashions, and I wanted to try theirs, and they were pretty good. They weren't smoked old fashions; they were just old fashions, but they were good. And I think she gave me double old fashions because it had a little bit of heat in them. Uh, but is there any firearms that are catching y'all's eyes that you're just like, man, I gotta have that, or I really want that? because for me personally, I'm just not seeing anything right this moment that I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta have that. I really want that. I'm just not seeing anything that's really, 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 really catching my eye right now. Not saying there's not great guns out there, because there are. The Smith and Wesson has some really great offerings right now, but it's nothing I kind of don't already have personally. It is a newer model with the new serrations and things like that, slide serrations, and I think that's a really great option. But I don't really have to have one. But is there anything that's got your mouth watering or anything? Just curious. Um, if there's old fashioned is bourbon. You can have a bourbon or whiskey. They do a cherry. I think it's bitters. They put a little bit of bitters in it. What's a simple syrup? Just a little bit of simple syrup. I think it's orange bitters, but it comes with an orange slice and a cherry. It's a great drink. You can Google it. There's different versions of old fashions. The smoked ones, then they'll put it in a smoke chamber, and it'll blow smoke in it, kind of like a cedar smoke. So it kind of has a smoky taste. But old fashions are good. I like them. But I think it's orange bitters, simple syrup. I have some in there, the mixes, and I think it's simple syrup, orange bitters, bourbon or whiskey of your choice, and then with an ice cube. Yeah, I've got a buddy that is playing with the Bodyguard 2.0 right now, and he actually likes it too. He's had a few little issues with it, little hiccups, but nothing major. I think he's already worked through them. He figured out what they were and addressed them, but he's kind of liking it for a small gun. Probably not a bad option. I wish it was optic ready, but I understand it's so freaking thin. That thing's tiny. So, but I think it's a good option for somebody with, for a little pocket gun or something. I agree, Pistol Pete. I totally agree. We need to say FJK also, or actually, I guess it would be FKH, because I'm telling you what, that's the devil right there. And I'm not so sure, because they just turned this over to her. Nobody voted on it. So they just kind of turned this over to her, which I don't see how they did that. And then when they have the DNC, I'm not so sure some shit's not going to be flipped. Not so sure about that. So I don't know. Like I said, I think something's coming. We've already had a lot that's happened, but I think more stuff's coming. Yeah, it was that, and on the mag, I guess there was something going on with the mag where he had to shave something off of it. So let's see here. Richard Heine, Jim Hog 45. Wait, that is coveting somebody else's stuff. A double stack. Firehawk. Yeah. Firehawks aren't, they're nice. They're really nice. They're not cheap though. Let's go, Karen. Yeah. And also, I like how, how can I say this? I like how her race was changed. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Jamaican, or what was it? Indian first, Jamaican, and African American. I'm just like, wow. I hear you. I hear you, Floridian. And I've got some wheel guns. I even thought about pulling them out and shooting them. There's just nothing that's like really got me super pumped up. I think it's great that we have all these choices, but I'm like, is there anything? And then when something does come out new, is it like new and earth shattering, or is it just another option to something that's already out there? That's kind of why I'm looking at it. So I don't know. I agree, Brian. Yep. I agree. I could see that would be easily to happen. Disastrous effect, riding the slide release. I do that on the P10Cs, even the P10Fs. I ride the slide because my thumb is so big. I ride the slide quite a bit. Practical though would be Staccato P or C2. I like both of those guns. I really do. The C2, and I know they have the new C out, but I do, for my hand size, I do prefer the C2 with the width. I put my hand on a C and I'm like, just it's too slim. And I understand 99% of people will probably like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I still like the C2. So, but I think for the other people, they would love the C. Yeah, Smith and Wesson 19 comp. Yeah, some nice pistols or revolvers. Old is good in my book. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, there's some, you know, what I'm really starting to do is revisit some of my older guns. I've taken a few of them. I haven't filmed anything, but I've taken a few of them to the range, some of the older ones, and really enjoyed them. I had a buddy who's got two of mine right now that he really wanted to run and test, and he really enjoyed them. Um, but I'll probably be getting those back this weekend. I just let him use them. But he had never shot. I'll get into it when I get him back. I'll do a video and whatever. I might even have him on the chat to give his opinion on them. That would probably be the best. But he ran two of mine and really enjoyed them. So that way we can give a totally different perspective for somebody who had never shot these guns before ever until I let him use them. So that would probably be a really good video or a good live to where y'all could ask him questions of what he thought about shooting them, his likes, dislikes, because he did have some dislikes. So that would probably be a good a live that we can do together. It was Threat Cadre. Y'all know who he is. He was wanting to test some out. So I think that would be that'd be fun for y'all to get his perspective on something he had never shot before. I mean, he had shot the caliber before, just not the actual guns. So I gave him both an optic version and a non-optic version. Clyde, that's the thing right now. There's only so much. If you really, really think about it, in a semi-automatic, there's only so much you can do, and most of it is going to be aesthetics, or it's going to be optic ready, non-optic ready, comped or not comped. There's only so much you can do to a lot of these to make them different. And that's kind of what I was saying. It's I don't want to say that it's boring or but there's nothing that's earth shattering or that's like, oh my gosh, I've got to get that gun because it's so revolutionary. There's just nothing out there right now that I'm seeing that I'm just like, oh my God. And y'all know if I see a gun that I'm excited about, I'll definitely start talking about it and I'll be like, yeah, I got to get that. And there's just nothing, there hasn't been anything out there in a while. I really, I was excited about the Shadow 2 Compact because I love the Shadow 2 so much, but the grip for me is just too short. Not that I couldn't shoot it, I could. And people say, well, they have the P01 or they have the 75 Compact or whatever, but you're dealing with a Shadow 2 frame, which I prefer over even the P01. And I like the P01. It's a great gun. But you have more rail options as well. On the P01, you only have the one single rail, and some lights fit, some don't. You've got the keys where you can adjust them back and forth, but you have a little more options on the Shadow 2 Compact. And, if I were going to buy one, I know some people have been like, when they shoot their P01 versus their Shadow 2 Compact, they're just like, I can't tell a huge difference. But I could right off the bat with the trigger alone. I mean, the trigger on the Shadow 2 Compact blows the PO1 out, a factory PO1 out of the water as far as triggers. And it's optic ready, where the PO1's not. I know a lot of people have milled their PO1s, but this way you could get it optic ready. Now, is it worth $1,299? I don't know about that. And then a lot of people got pissed off that it wasn't a steel frame, that it was alloy frame. And I'm like, they're trying to cut weight because they're trying to go with the carry gun. So I get it. I get why they did it. But I think the Shadow 2 Compact is still a great gun. If it fit my hand just right, even if it was, I mean, I can't even get my pinky on it, which is not a big deal. I could still shoot it, or I could get an extension on it. I mean, I've got mags with extensions where I could get one and shoot it now. But, I think that's a great option. And I'm still excited about it. I think it's a fantastic gun. Korth are awesome. Korth are really, really nice revolvers. Yeah. They're not cheap, but they're super nice. Yeah, and that's a lot of people wanted the compact to be steel, and I get it, but some people, like to carry lighter guns, so they were trying to kind of go for the the Shadow 2 competition shooters, or who love the big gun, to buy the smaller gun, and you do have mag compatibility, which is a great thing. I mean, one way you could run the full size mags in the compact, but not vice versa, of course, because of the length. But ooh, and this is okay. It's actually a great question. Mossberg 940 Tactical versus Beretta A300 Unity Patrol. I am a huge Mossberg fan, and I've shot Beretta, I've shot Benelli, and they are fantastic shotguns. Do not get it twisted. But I am just bang for the buck. Bang for the buck. I'm a huge Mossberg fan. I've got the 590A1. I've got, what do I have? I think I've got probably five Mossbergs. I think I have five. Two of them are exactly the same. I put the +9 tubes on them. They're both vented or comped or ported or whatever you want it to. Ported, I guess, is what you would say. I call them vented. They're fantastic shotguns. I do like the Ambi safety on the Mossbergs on the top, the the top safety. Those little push button safeties are bullshit for me. Just a big handed person problem. I'm a big Mossberg fan, and I've never had a Mossberg go down. Can anyone think of a reason a QD sling attachment isn't the right option? Some people have had QD, and here's the thing, Brian, on the QD slings, and I will say this: if you buy the cheap Chinese bullshit QD mounts that you put your sling, you run it through, and it's the little bullshit metal aluminum ones, they suck. And the bearings will fall out of them. It's not how, it's when. They will fail at the dumbest times. You'll go to push them in, they'll be locked in, you can't pull it out. You'll be shooting it with that shotgun, boom, 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 and all of a sudden, boop, it'll blow apart. Those bearings will go everywhere. So if you get an American-made QD mount to attach to your sling, you'll never have a problem. But a lot of people try to skimp out on the money, and they buy the cheapos, and they do fail there. I have also seen the QD mount that you put in your, the little part that you screw into your rail. I've seen people get the cheap ones, not the BCGs or the good quality ones, where it's got the little rim inside of it, and it'll rip right out. Even if you have a factory US made QD mount, it'll just pull right out of it. So that can be a failure if you don't have the right. But if you buy the good stuff, I've never had a problem with the good stuff. Beretta makes a quality shotgun. There is nothing wrong with them. I just think bang for buck. That's what I'm trying to think about there. I mean, Benelli's are super nice as well. I only have one Benelli right now. It's an old one. It's a bird gun, actually. Or no, I'm sorry. No, I don't have a Beretta. My Benelli. What the hell is the number on that one? It's a super old one. I can't remember the number on it. It's not the tactical one. Hey, G23, how are you, sir? Hope you're doing well. But it is 8 o'clock. Do y'all want to keep going a little bit longer? Anything pressing that you can think of? Also, if y'all do need anything from Lock Grips as far as grips, stands, hats, anything like that, cups, whatever, you can use my discount code. It's BJGG10. Save you 10% off anything they offer. I've had a lot of people ask me, what was your code? What was your code? I've got tons of videos on it, but they're older videos. So, everybody asks, are you still working with Lock Grips? I'm like, yeah, I've been with them forever. I just haven't needed any super recently because I don't have any. I mean, all the grips that I have, I love from them. I've had people ask, what are my favorite grips? I guess I need to say that. If you're going G10, I still prefer the Palm Swell. I think the Bogey Palm Swells, that's still my favorite in the G10. If you want to go aluminum or brass, it's definitely the Lock Jaws. They are super, super aggressive. Some people might not like them because, I mean, I like DNA takers. I like to get that hard grip on it where it does not move at all. And the Lock Jaws are the best grips that they offer. They're super aggressive. I even had a guy that shoots. He might even be on here. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name if you're on here. Um, he reached out and said what he was going to be shooting USPSA and which grips. And I said, do you want aluminum or G10? And he said he would like to stay with aluminum. So I recommended Lock Jaws. He got them and he loves them. But he's like, you're right. These things are aggressive. So I don't know if they're too aggressive for him. He shot them and liked them. But I love the Lock Jaws. Wow. Beretta is taking a year to get back for their warranty? Damn. I didn't know that. Hello, Pranic. How are you, man? Yeah, a lot of people like the Veloci. I know Humble likes the Veloci, where you kind of get a little bit of differing. Um, I'm kind of old school and just like the bogeys all the way around. They seem to work the best for me. But the good thing is you do have options. I'm just saying, as far as the most aggressive in G10, they are the bogeys. The Veloci does give you some smoother areas, but no, they'll grip. Don't get me wrong, but they're a little aggressive in some areas you might not want them aggressive. But the Lock Jaws by far in the aluminums are legit, and Humble even loves the Lock Jaws in the all aluminum. But those are and what made me think of that is got my little Lock Grip cup here. And their pistol stands and AR stands are awesome too. Let's see here. How much longer before Israel is fighting on multiple fronts, including in Iran? Yeah, it is, Brian. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. We're being drugged into all this shit. We are being drugged into every bit of this. We can't take care of our own shit, but we're helping everybody else. I'm all for America first, period. We've got too much shit going on here to worry about everybody else's bullshit. Not that I'm not for helping other people, but good Lord, we got to help ourselves first. Pranic says, I should have got Palm Swells. Went back to my stock P01. My poor choice, not Lock's fault. Pranic, I know you're local to me. If you'll shoot me an email, I've got some P01 grips. I'll give them to you if you want them. I can meet you or drop them off somewhere or whatever. If you want them, I'll give them to you. Just shoot me an email. Let's see here. Yeah, lock only. Every VZ grip. To me, haze is over. Wood doesn't look different. The VZ, and I ran VZ way back in the day. When you tighten them down, they still move. They have too much play in them, and I'm not hating on VZ. I'm not. Just the ones that I had in the past, they just weren't catted correctly, and it allowed too much play, even on 1911s. Once I got with lock, like God, what is it, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I never had that problem. I mean, when Jason cads them, he literally does it to the gun. I've never had one back off. I've never had one come loose. He also uses O-rings on the screws, which cinches them down so they don't back off. Because you don't want to put a bunch of blue Loctite on your grip screws. You should not have to do that at all. And on the 2011, or excuse me, the 1911s, when you crank them down, you can pull your lugs out of your 1911, so you don't want to over tighten them at all. I agree with Trigger Bar. Hit that thumbs up. Yeah, no, Chris is a great guy. No, super nice. I would love to have him back on. I've checked with him a few times, and he's just been really super busy. So I get it. He's got that new property and all that other stuff. So, super nice guy. Super nice guy. Matter of fact, Pewview is a super nice guy too. I've talked to him a few times. We've called each other and talked to each other on the phone. Really nice guys. And Pewview is a hell of a shooter, man. That guy can shoot. Crazy accurate with the shit he does. All of his stunts or whatever you want to call them, trick shots. He's a hell of a shooter. I will definitely give credit to where credit's due. Great shooter. And Chris is a hell of a shot too. Yeah, I mean, I really like the Platypus. I think it offers a hell of a lot, especially, like I've said, if you're invested in Glock mags and you're a Glock person, I've had several people reach out to me and they're like, hey, I want my first 2011. And I'm like, are you a Glock person? And they're like, oh, hell yeah, I've shot Glocks forever. I've got tons of mags. And I'm like, get a Platypus. I mean, it just makes sense because you're buying $35 mags over $100 mags or $78, $80 mags. Um, you've already got tons of mags, and that's kind of an easy jump in. And the price is right on them. I mean, I would, I've thought 15 different times, but I was waiting till they had the RMR cut and the bull barrel and the commander and the aggressive grip, and now they have all that. But now the wait time is like freaking forever. I think it's like 17 weeks or something. But I think it would be a great option. Thanks, Florian. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, watch beauty videos. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, no, I know. KS sent me pictures of it and everything when he first ordered it. I wish he would have got the optic ready. And I even told him, I'm like, just get it and put a plate on it. He's like, no, I don't want to get it. And I understand. I mean, a lot of people aren't, 100% dot people. I am. Well, Rich B, I know that's what I kind of thought about too. But you're dealing with. I kind of looked at it this way, and maybe this might help you. Okay, if you have Glock mags and you're vested in Glocks, okay, say you had a go bag. I always said everybody should have a Glock, period, for SHTF, and tons of Glock mags. So think about it that way. In your go bag, you could have your Glock or on Glock on your person, and then have your Platypus in your go bag, or whatever. I mean, I just think it's a great option because you'll have a 2011, trigger and all that other stuff. Some of the stuff you can change and kind of trick out a little bit, but you'll have the capability of using Glock mags. So that was kind of how it was offset to me because I can't do that with my regular 2011s. And I love a 2011, but I was just kind of thinking that way. What would be the reason I would buy that? And the reason I would buy that is because it takes Glock mags. So you could have your Glock 19 or whatever. If if that's what you want as a carry gun. You could have you could have a Glock PCC, which I have that. Um, also have the Glock 17L that acts as a PCC in that brace. And then I would have a 2011 that would take Glock mags. So that would be 4 options that would all take the same mags. So that could be a great setup if that's what you choose to use. So that's why I would do that. Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with it, G23. Just in case, you can always put a plate on it. If they mill it, they just stick a little plate on it, and you can take it off when you want to. And if you ever decided you wanted to resell it or anything like that, you would have an easier time, selling it with one that was milled already. I don't think he'll ever sell it, but I'm just saying that's just another option that you could have, because you might get Doc curious even later on. KS might get more Doc curious. So I don't think you can go wrong. You know how we bitch about that gun didn't come optic ready. Well, if you get it optic ready, then you can choose. And I think it would be fun, even if you're an iron guy, to put a dot on it, try it out. If you don't like it, pop it back off, put the plate on, you're done. Oh, there you go, Pistol Pete. I've never shot a Glock. Did they take CZ mags? No, they don't. Except, I guess there is a Glock, player, if you want to say that. You've got the one that's made in Dallas, Texas. It does take CZ P10C mags. I can't pronounce it. The Rossi, whatever it's called, Rossi Martin. That one does. It's a Glock clone, and it actually does take CZ P10C mags. So there's one that kind of does. I have 3 dots that are still in boxes, and I have one that has a dot on it. There you go. I have a bunch in boxes. Hell, I have an MPS, Steiner MPS, sitting up here. It's the FDE one, and it's still in the box. I just took it out and looked at it. I've got tons of Holosuns because I pulled them off because I've been testing these other dots. I've just got them in Ziploc bags. I think I have one Ziploc bag with a sandwich bag with like 4 or 5 Holosun original 507Cs in them, with the batteries on the bottom, and they all work perfectly. Because I've been testing these other dots. Ross Martin, that's it. Yeah, matter of fact, one of the dots, and I'm not going to waste my time or waste y'all's time on it, but one of the dots that I was testing, I put it on, it worked great. I shot it, and it shit the bed pretty quick. So I even let them know that. I'm like, this thing shit the bed, and they're like, oh, we'll send you another one. And I was like, no thanks. And it's not one of the dots. It's not a Sealy or anything like that. It's a totally different company. But it shit the bed pretty quick, so I'm not messing with it. Let's see here. Do you get Loctite off of your old screws or just replace them? Acetone work? Yeah, you can actually use acetone. Also, when the blue Loctite, I only use blue. But when it actually kind of gets crusty, I just take a pick or a little brass wire brush and just kind of, hit it a little bit around it, and it all comes off. And then I'll take acetone, or I've used lighter fluid, acetone, degreaser, just to clean it up, and then I just stand them up and let them air dry. And then I'll put, a little bit of dab on it. I don't soak them down, but, I get a pretty good amount, and then I use my fat torque wrench. So I'm getting the correct inch pounds, and I've never had, knock on wood, I've never had one back off, never had one hit me in the face. And once I tighten them correctly, then I let them cure for 24 to 48 hours. I know some people say 12 hours, 24 hours. I just sometimes let them go 48 hours, but I do mark them with my little paint pens. I've got white ones, and I've got, what's the other color? I got a gold one, and I've got a orange one, but I mark them with these little paint pens. And so I've always got witness marks on them. And periodically when I'm shooting them, I'll just look down and make sure nothing's moved, and then I'll shoot them some more. And then when I get finished, I'll look at them and see if they've moved, and I've never had one even move. So, I'm just kind of, I don't know, even when I did engine work and stuff, I was just always really keyed in on torques, proper torque. Um, that's what I've always done. A. Barnes, how are you, sir? You might be new. I don't recognize you. What is the best enclosed optic for a DWX compact? Best enclosed, if you're wanting a duty, I've had really, really good luck with my Aimpoint Acro P2. And I'm just going to say this. People might hate me or not agree with me. But I would not, absolutely, I will say this again, I would not use the Steiner MPS as a duty gun optic, because the battery life completely sucks. It's horrific. It is absolutely horrible if you run it, because I carry flashlights on my guns. So if you illuminate it to where it doesn't wash out when you turn your flashlight on, that's going to be too intense, and you're going to get about 2 to 3 months of battery life out of it. That's it. It sucks. And that's if you keep it on constant, of course. You can turn it off, turn it on, and then when you turn it on, it lasts for 10 hours, I believe, before it goes back off. So you just have to plan accordingly. If it's past 10 hours, all you have to do is tap the up or down. It kicks back on for another 10 hours. I love the dot. I love the way it looks. I love the clarity. I love all that. I wish it was brighter. The Aimpoint's super, super bright. But I would honestly get the Acro Footprint. I really would. And I would get the Acro P2. I still would get another one today. So if I have to pick one, that's going to be the one. So let's see here. Pistol Pete, I've got some that are most Holosuns, I believe, or excuse me, Holosuns are 15-inch pounds, I believe. I've got a chart. I've got some that say Titan to 15-inch pounds. I have one that was 16. They usually state it in their owner's manual. The higher end ones do. So even some of the lower ones, they're like 15-inch pounds. I've got some that are 10. So you just really need to go plan accordingly to what the owner's manual recommends. But there you go. Let's see here. Been considering a PCC, looking at the MPC or M&P, FPC, since I'm a fanboy and plenty of mags. Do you think they're worth the price of admission? Personally, no. I'm not real crazy about that one. If you have a ton of mags for them already, I'm not saying it's bad. It does have a lifetime warranty on it, so you can't go wrong with that. And M&P is a stand-up company. I'm just not. I'm a fan of PCCs with Glock mags because you get the big boys. Okay. Plus the mags are so much cheaper. Your M&P mags start at like 34 to $40. You can get Glock mags, and I wouldn't trust them for carry, but some of the cheaper mags like the MN2s, and I've had a lot of MN2s fail because they have a 34 stick, and I had 2 of those fail, so they're only for practice. But you got the 33 stick from Glock, so I do prefer a Glock patterned mag personally on a PCC. That's just my opinion, but that's what I would stay with. So I don't think you can go wrong with that. No problem, Mr. Barnes. A. Barnes, Pistol Pete's asking you, what do you think about the DWX Compact, if you want to reply. Yeah, the KCIs aren't bad. I have a few of them. I had one of them that the feed lip cracked on the back. When you loaded them in, I kept them loaded all the way, and I had one of the back of the feed lips. It had a little crack in it. I reached out to them, and they did send me a new one, and I haven't had the new one crack, and I keep it loaded. But, I don't know if I dropped that mag. I can't remember. I might have, because I just drop them on the floor when I shoot. So I only had one of them do that, but that was a while ago. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate it, buddy. But it's about 8:19. We can go to 8:30 if y'all want to, or if y'all want to shut it down, that's perfectly fine too. It's whichever. A Barnes says he loves it. He loves his DWX compact, so that's cool. And if I were going to buy the DWX compact, I would definitely want the one with the rail. I don't know if he has that, but that's the one that I would want. I don't think you can go wrong with that gun. And it is single action, of course. But yeah, I had the Amen 2. They sent me 3 of the 34 round mags, and I had 2 of them fail. So I was like, these are not carry mags. I mean, in a pinch, you could have backups, but I couldn't believe they failed. But I had them fully loaded, and then as I was shooting them, then the follower tilted down, and I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, they wouldn't feed, so I had to bang them, take them out, and bang them, and then they popped back up. I took them apart because I thought it had a burr in it. It didn't. So, and I was like, this should be a non-tilt follower, but it was still trying to nosedive on the front. So I'm like, man, these aren't my book. Also, people have asked me, and I might as well share it. What is the worst AR-15 mag made, in my opinion? And I had it because I just checked, and I will never, ever, ever use those as dependable mags. And it's Mission First Tactical. MFTs, those mags are utter complete garbage. Yeah, they're freaking horrible. I actually had them loaded in the truck in a go bag. The go bag was in the back of the truck with some of those. I had those, P mags, Lancer mags, but I had them loaded. Only 2 of them were the MFT mags, and 3 or 4 bullets actually came out of each one of the MFT mags. They were all loaded in the same exact bag. And I opened it up to double check it, because that's just what I do periodically. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like pushing down on it. I'm like, where the hell? I looked down on both of these. They were short. Both of those mags were the MFT mags, and freaking bullets were in the bottom of the bag. And I'm like, just from driving around, shaking them around a little bit, they're sitting there spitting mags out like a freaking Pez dispenser. So I'm like, screw these mags. So I've marked them. They're all marked. They're completely practice mags only. They will never, as a matter of fact, I pulled them out of there and put 2 more Lancers in there. They will never be used for serious stuff again, ever. And I looked at the feed lips. They're not cracked. They're not bad. They're just sitting there spitting out freaking mags. Or spitting out bullets. So I'm like, screw that. Cheaper home insurance. Yeah, you got to cut down those trees. I've got trees back here, and yeah, we had guys come in and trim them like 2 years ago because they're pretty freaking big. They were coming up over my fence, and but yeah, tree cutting's not cheap. I wouldn't get my big. I cut some of the smaller ones that were hanging over, but going way the hell up there, no thanks. I don't really like heights. I used to when I was a kid, but he says, Pistol Pete, I prefer it over the Shadow 2 Compact, and I did get the railed version. There you go. Cool. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't had a single action trigger, I mean, it's a nice trigger. Yeah, and then, a lot of people ask what my favorite metal mags are. Because if you think about it, metal mags, completely loaded, are actually pretty damn light. My favorite metal mags are Duramag. I really, really like them. Also, Circle something. I can't remember the name of them. I've got some of them with the blue followers. I really like them, but I really, really, really do like the Duramags. They're probably my favorite. I even have some old Colt mags. The the followers, they're the older followers, so they do tilt. They're not the anti-tilt, but I could get the followers, the follower kit and just replace them. I probably need to do that. Yeah, Metgar mags are great for factory mags, for pistol mags. I don't think Metgar makes a AR mag, do they? I haven't ever seen one. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it. I spent almost $4,000 on 2 PCC subguns and still don't have the optics figured out. And I'm telling you, there's so many different choices. Do you want a dot, magnifier? There's so many damn choices. That's where you can get really hung up in the weeds. Yes, I even own a couple of them. I have some old Smith West, the 439. What is it, the 439? I have the 439. That was my I have my very, very, very first pistol that I ever bought or ever got. I got it when I graduated high school. It's a Smith & Wesson 439. It's immaculate. It's a great shooter too. Single stack, 9mm. I've had the Big Chiefs, Smith & Wesson metal guns, the old school guns. I've had 2 of those in 10mm, one of them in 9mm. Great guns. Smith & Wesson makes great guns. Yeah, metal mags, when you load them up and you really feel the weight difference, if you're wanting to stay thin and lightweight, aluminum mags are legit. A lot of people don't like them, but they're legit. But that's the thing, see, the PMags didn't do that, and they have polymer feed lips. My Lancers didn't do it, and they have metal feed lips. They're the hybrids. But man, those MFT mags are freaking junk. I will not ever buy those things again. Oh, I did have one. That's right. I'm glad you said that, Clyde. I also had a Smith metal gun in 45. And of course, with Smith & Wesson revolvers, you really can't go wrong with those. They can come out of time if they're super, super old and beat up. But none of my Smith & Wessons have ever came out of time, but I don't shoot them enough either, just being honest with you. I did when I was younger, but I don't have the rotation or anything on them that I did with my semi-autos. But it is 8:27. We'll go ahead and shut this down. But if you have any questions or comments after the chat, please leave them. I'll be glad to get back with you guys. I appreciate y'all so much for being on. I'm glad to be back home. That was a long drive. So definitely glad to be home. Blessed to have the truck. Super nice truck. I'm glad to have it. We'll be running it. If I have any issues or anything, I'll report back just in case anybody wants to know on the truck issue or truck situation. We'll be testing out some other things. I'll be shooting some videos this weekend. Following up on some stuff. We'll be dragging some older school stuff out of the safe and shooting it. Because I've had a lot of people ask, on some of my older videos, like, what do you still think about that gun now? And I'm like, shit, I hadn't shot it in forever. So let me drag it back out. So I've kind of got some of those lined up. So those will be coming too, because I'm anxious, and kind of seeing if I still give a shit about them. Some of the older stuff. And if y'all want to get into the one with the dot that shit the bed, I can probably just talk about it or show it or whatever. Do a video on that if y'all want to see it. Because I tell you the good and the bad. So 10mm Banshee, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Thanks, Trigger Bar. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's see here. But anyway, we'll do this next Wednesday. And again, if y'all have anything that comes up or anything, like, what do you think about this or what do you think about that? Let me know. If I have experience with it, I'll be glad to share it with you. If I don't, I'll tell you honestly. But appreciate y'all tuning in. Have a great night, everyone. Love one another. And y'all stay safe. And, we're going to be praying for Ranger. He lost his mother. So, that's why I say, if you haven't talked to your family in a while, please reach out to them, even if you dislike them at this moment, because you just never know. So, but I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Carry on, everyone.